Hi everyone. Now, before I start taking questions, I'm going to take some questions today. I wanted to share with you a fantastic new product that we have. People who know me personally will know that I always say over and over again, there's no such thing as bad weather. It's called bad clothing. And I am a real believer in we should get our kids outside. They should be outside. They should be playing in muddy puddles. They should be jumping up and down in the rain and playing outside in the rain. And I love any clothing which helps you achieve this. Now, we have just got into stock the brand new Silly Billz Waterproof trousers. There's jackets as well. So these are the waterproof trousers. There is jackets as well as these, but we've only got the trousers, but we can get the jackets if you want them. We think these are fantastic. Now, I decided I'm going to share them with you while I'm waiting for people to pop their questions up. They are a beautiful feeling fabric. They're rubbery and they just feel lovely and they feel soft. Even though they're waterproof, they feel soft. They've got a fluoresco strip on them. They come in, this is the extra large size, which is quite big, and I think would fit about a 4-year-old. And then this is the small, this is inside out. I've turned this inside out, small. Now this one they call red, but we think it's more a pink. So we're going to put pink in brackets on the website, which is why people come to Save Our Sleep, because we write what true colours are. We tell you what we really believe in the product. They've got a gorgeous soft inside. You could pop these on, over their clothes. I carry something like this in my bag. So whenever we go somewhere, if it suddenly starts raining, we went to the chocolate factory last week and it was raining, and Kieran and Darren and Killian were the only kids playing outside in the rain because they were the only kids with appropriate wet weather gear with them. And then I pulled extras out for the kids we were with, and everybody was laughing, going, Tizzie always says there's no such thing as bad weather, it's called bad clothing. They've also got a little bit here on the foot to go under the welly boot. The other thing that this one's inside out to show you, the other thing that my girls love is that the waterproof bit goes up quite high. So you would put that inside the wellies or outside the wellies, and that goes up quite high. It probably goes even higher, I would think, on the green one. And as I said, I love the fluoresco safety bit, and I would think that that would go up higher on the green one, which it does. So anyway, so get your kids the wet weather gear so that they can go outside and play in puddles. Now, I'm just going to have a look at what questions are coming in and answer some questions for you. Thank you all very much for tuning in to Question Time. I'm probably only going to take 3 or 4 questions, so I've seen lots of questions come in, so please don't put any more questions up or you're going to be disappointed. Or, you may, but I may get to them. Or if I don't get to them on this, one of the girls might come in and answer them for you after. But there's enough live questions now gone up, so please don't put any more up or you will be disappointed, because I'm not going to get to them all. So we've got about 7 questions up. But I may get to them. Or if I don't get How come you put the phone on silent and it still talks to you? Okay, let's see. Brooke Turner says, hi Tizzie, needing some guidelines. My 7-month-old wakes every morning at 6 a.m. I don't feed her. I thought you had a him. I'm a bit confused. Maybe someone else has logged into your Facebook account, Brooke. Or maybe it is a him. I don't feed him until 7 a.m. and I've tried holding off the morning nap until 9:20, 9:30, 9:40. She only sleeps for 45 minutes. Okay, let me look at this again. So we've got a 7-month-old who's waking at 6 a.m. I don't feed until 7. I've tried holding off the morning sleep till 9:20, 9:30 and 9:40. Only ever sleeps 45 minutes. So, or 1 hour and 10 minutes at the most. Does the same at the afternoon nap. I think the short day sleeps are causing early rising. Well, the short day sleeps wouldn't necessarily cause early rising, so we need to try and work out what another problem is. I'm presuming that you're asking for someone else, or maybe we've got another Brooke Turner. I'm presuming, or because you've got a boy, not a girl, but anyway. You're using 100% cotton, 15 layers. The room's heated to 22 degrees, long-sleeved, long-legged onesie, 2.5 sleep bag, wrap and a wrap. Right, well, we would never use the 2.5 sleep bag with the wrap and a wrap. We would use a 1-tog sleep bag, but that won't be the reason. Protein for lunch and dinner. I would wonder if you are breastfeeding or if you're formula feeding. If you are breastfeeding, and are you doing the dream feed, would be another thing I would be wondering with this little girl who's waking at 6 a.m. It sounds like you've got the bedding right. It sounds like you've got the food right. Are you adding rice cereal along with express breast milk or formula to the food? That's something I would be looking at. And but it really does look like you're doing everything right. So without knowing more detail, I'm a bit stuck with that one and a bit confused by it, thinking you're asking for someone else. So maybe if you can put some more info up on who, you know, on whether it's a he and you've said she by mistake, and whether, because if it's the right book I'm thinking of, I already know that you're doing certain things and I don't want to go back over those same things. Okay, so Nicole says, hey Tizzie, any advice on bub that has started solids, however broke out in a rash? Rice cereal? Okay, Nicole, the rice cereal I would recommend you use is Rafferty's Organic Brown Rice Cereal. If you by any chance are using Bellamy's rice cereal, lots of children are intolerant to the rosemary in the Bellamy's rice cereal. So Nicole, can you please answer further down if you're using Bellamy's? It could be the rice cereal that's causing the rash, but I'd like to know what rice cereal you're using. So if you could answer further down what rice cereal you're using, Nicole, that would be really helpful. Anna says, we follow SOS but struggle to get my 21-week-old to sleep longer than 10 minutes in the car. Do you have any tips? I'm following the times when travelling. Okay, so in the car, I would put your baby into the car seat with like their bodysuit, their baby grow, and maybe a thin cardigan or top layer in the car seat. And then I would wrap over the top. So put your wrap right over the top and put there. You can use a sleeping bag in the car seat. So at 21 weeks, use a sleeping bag in the car seat. And then wrap the wrap over the top of the straps and make sure it's really tight and snug, and use a blanket over the straps in the car seat. It might be that your little one is not feeling secure enough in the car seat to sleep properly, so I would try that. Alana says, my 8-week-old wakes himself up choking in the middle of the night. I suspect silent reflux. How should I prop up the bassinet at night? So we would never recommend propping the bassinet up. People used to suggest propping bassinets up when babies slept on their tummy. Propping a bassinet up used to help when babies slept on their tummy, but when babies sleep on their back, it is said that it doesn't help. You need to talk to your GP about this because it's a medical issue, and if your baby is waking up gasping or choking in the night from reflux, you really need to talk to your GP, because we would not recommend tilting up the bassinet, because if you tilted the bassinet up, your baby could slip down underneath the blankets. We also don't recommend babies sleep in bassinets. We recommend that babies sleep in mini cribs with slats the whole way round. So I would suggest to you to talk to your GP and make sure you've got the bedding right, because it might be that your baby isn't comfortable and that's why they're not sleeping, and then they're waking up, and when they're awake they're sort of making it might not be the reflux. But talk to your GP and also make sure you're using the right bedding, and don't use a bassinet, use a cot or a mini crib, and try and use the correct bedding. Mohammed says, hi Tizzie, my 19-month-old vomits when we place her to bed. As we leave the room, she'll cry straight away and makes herself vomit. Thinking of joining your forums, do you think your team can help? So if you've got a 19-month-old who vomits as soon as you put them in bed, my thoughts are that you have done something like control crying, or left your baby to cry and gone in and out and made them emotional. I think you should join the advice area. We will be able to help you with your little one to try and stop this. We might not be able to stop it. I wouldn't be leaving them. If when you leave the room, they immediately vomit, obviously they're upset. What I would suggest is you put them in like a Porter Cot first. This is explained in the book, but I would suggest maybe putting them in a Porter Cot with some towels and telling them it's sleep time, and stay in the room with them. So change bedtime to popping them in the Porter Cot, stay in the room with them, and don't put them in their cot till after they've had the vomit, but don't walk out of the room. try and change the habit so that, you know, you walking out of the room triggers your little one to vomit. So don't walk out of the room. But yes, the advice area will help you. So I would suggest joining the advice area. Kelly says, my 3-year-old's waking at 5:30 and wanting to play. Goes to bed at 7 and is hit and miss on day sleep. Does he need day sleep? If so, what time? So if you've got a 3-year-old waking at 5:30, I need to know what time their day sleep is now. I would make their day sleep much later, maybe about 2 o'clock for 40 minutes. But I need to know what time it is now to be able to help you with what time to do it. Carly says, hi Tizzie, my 3rd baby is 10 months and sleeps 7 to 7 at night. Thanks to your book, we are in Geelong. She sleeps well in the day and is starting stretching her first sleep, not wanting another. She goes down at 10:20 with no issues and sleeps till about 1:30 or 2. Is this okay? Yes, if your little one is sleeping 7 to 7 at night and having 1 day sleep and is 10 months old, and it's your 3rd baby, so second and third babies move up the routines a lot faster. Yes, this is okay. If that's working for you and your family, and it's probably working much better with kinder or school run drop-offs, so yes, that's absolutely fine. If your baby is still sleeping all night, then to me that sounds fine. If they start waking before 7, if your 10-month-old starts waking before 7, I would move the morning sleep to later than 10:20. Also, just make sure you get enough milk in. So at 10 months, you need to be getting at least 3 big milk feeds in a day. That can be 3 milk feeds or 2 milk feeds one morning and night and 2 half feeds in the middle of the day. Jenna says, hi Tizzie, would you recommend purchasing a bigger sleeping bag for a toddler who's nearly 3? Already fighting us on wearing it each night. I am sure he is ready for a big bed, but holding out, thank you. So if you have a 3-year-old who doesn't want to go in the sleeping bag, and I wouldn't go buying another one, unless you get one from the second-hand page. I really wouldn't buy one. If you're getting to the point where you think they're going to move into a big bed, I would not go out and buy a sleeping bag, unless they're just testing sleep time. Each child's individual. If they're just testing sleep time, and you put it on them and then they sleep, yes, you could buy another one. But if you really think they're ready for a big bed and you're looking at not using the sleeping bag, you'd only use it for the first 6 weeks in it, or 6 months. I can never remember whether we've worked it out to be 6 weeks or 6 months. It doesn't really matter which, but you would need it for at least the first 6 weeks in the big bed. I wouldn't run out and buy another one. I'd just use the one that you have. I think you'd be wasting your money buying another one at this stage. Kayla says, hi Tizzie, when your baby is sick, do you just let them sleep? Your book says not to let them go more than 4 hours between feeds. So yes, you'd wake them up at 4 hours. You wouldn't let them go more than 4 hours between feeds, but also it depends how sick. So if they've got gastro, you might have to wake them up every hour and give them some, depending what your doctor recommends, something to help rehydrate them. If they are breast or bottle fed, you wouldn't let them go more than 4 hours. You say, my 8-month-old has a cold and seems to crack it after 1.5 hours max and will sleep for 2 hours. Yeah, if your little one's got a cold or something and they're really struggling and they're struggling to breathe because they've got a blocked nose, it is okay for them to sleep a bit more during the day if they still sleep at night. But yes, you do need to make sure that they don't go more than 4 hours between having some milk or some solids. You're saying, so I'm just going to read yours again and make sure I've covered everything, Kayla. So you're saying, is it okay to go? So you're saying your baby's sick. Your book says, yeah, 8 months old. Your 8-month-old has a cold and cracks stuff from her nose. Then it will sleep for 2 hours or more. It sleeps 12 to 13 hours at night. If I let her, should I just let her sleep when she's sick? Yes. In short, the answer is yes. If your baby or toddler is sick, let them sleep, but make sure that they are hydrated and make sure that you're checking on them. And if they are breastfed and they're a young baby, make sure you don't let them go, or even bottle fed and they're a young baby, under 6 months, don't let them go more than 4 hours between feeds. Kelly says, I offer my 3-year-old a day sleep at 1 p.m. Sometimes he sleeps and other times he doesn't. So at 3 years, 1 p.m. is pretty much too early for a sleep. So I'd be moving that sleep till about, I would try 1:20 and see if you get a sleep every day then, or else I would try, 1:40. But we really see 3-year-olds sleeping at 2 o'clock. Quick nap at 2 o'clock for about 40 minutes. Right, I'm just going to take 3 more questions and then that's it. So Lauren says, I'm following the bedding guide and the 2 hours awake time for my 11-week-old, but still getting 20-minute sleep cycles, resettling him when he wakes on me or in the pram. Any ideas? So it's not a 2-hour awake time. You need to actually follow the routine. The times on the routine are to do with sleep cycles. So you don't just go, I'm going to keep my baby up for 2 hours and then put them down and keep them up for 2 hours. You need to use the exact times on the routines. If your baby is only sleeping 20 minutes, I would be looking at your cot, making sure they're in a cot, making sure you have the right mattress protector, making sure you are putting your baby in a short-sleeved bodysuit, an all-in-one onesie or baby grow as I call them, a one-tog sleeping bag, a wrap and a wrap, depending on where you live, anything from 8 to 15 layers of blankets. I would be trying all of that, and if that doesn't work, then I would be looking at hunger, because an 11-week-old baby really needs to be sleeping more than 20 minutes, and a 20-minute sleep is a sign of hunger or coldness. But then it might be that you're not following the routine. So back to basics and follow the routine, please. As I said, the 2 hour up is not the same as actually following the routine. The next one is, hi Tizzie, my baby really struggles to take the dream feed, won't drink the bottle, she's 8 weeks old. Should I wake her for the feed? Yes. As explained in the book, you sometimes have to wake babies fully for the dream feed. You try the dream feed, and if they'll do it asleep, great. If they won't, you have to wake them fully for the dream feed, which it sounds like you have to do. Bianca says, my 10-week-old is only drinking 90 mils of the dream feed. I feel like that's not much. Luckily, he went till 2:30 a.m., but has woken at 1:30. Should he be drinking about 120? Do I wake him up? So yes, I would wake your 10-week-old up if they're only having 90 mils, but I would also look at your bedding. Waking at 1:30 or 2:30 could be a bedding problem, so make sure that you're using the bedding. When people say that they're following the bedding guide, please note that you need to try using up to the maximum amount of blankets if your baby is still waking during the night. So Rowena says, hi Tizzie. Now Rowena's the last question. I'm not taking any more questions after Rowena. So Rowena is the last question. And before I take Rowena's question, just a reminder that we've got these great new waterproof Silly Billyz in stock, which we all absolutely love. And they're a beautiful, soft, sort of rubbery feel on the outside, beautiful cotton on the inside, made by Silly Billyz, which is the same factory that makes our sleeping bags. And we absolutely love them. So very, very good standard. So Rowena says, hi Tizzie, my almost 1-year-old is unpredictable at both day sleeps and nights. Sleeps 7 to 7, wakes early or wakes in the middle of the night. Sometimes she screams when we go to put her to bed. Sometimes she goes straight to sleep, similar with the day sleeps. So I would be looking at things, Rowena, like food, milk. Are you still feeding breast milk? If not, you need to be giving stage 1 infant formula. I recommend A2. Make sure you're feeding till full. Make sure the texture of the food is well fork mashed food, followed by finger food and so on. Make sure you're giving your toddler lots of protein. I would be looking at all of that. And the bedding guide. You say you're following the bedding guide, but are you following the maximum bedding? But it doesn't sound to me like bedding is your problem. I would try the maximum bedding, but it doesn't sound like that's... When I say the maximum bedding, I mean working up to it. So you start with what you're using, and then you put 2 more layers, and then 2 more layers. I don't mean go straight in and put the maximum bedding. But I would be looking at other things, like you haven't started cow's milk. Are you breastfeeding? Are you still using stage 1 formula? What texture of food are you giving? Are you giving the recommended amount of food in the feeding book? So people say they love in the feeding book the information on exactly how much each child should be eating at each age. So are you following that would be the question. Scoop says, hi Tizzie, I've been following your routine for 9 days with my 8-month-old, kicks the blankets off and rolls to the tummy. Gives me such a hard time every time I place him in the crib. So I know I said I wasn't taking any more questions, but I'm just quickly going to answer that one because you're new to Save Our Sleep. You need to be using the sleeping bag and using the blankets, and if they kick them off, you need to put your baby back on his back and put 2 more blankets on. And if he kicks them off, put him back on his back and put 2 more blankets on until you are using up to the 15 layers. If it's still happening at that point, I beg you to consider joining the online advice area so we can help you get your baby sleeping safely on his back. Lauren says, I should have clarified, I meant I'm following the 10-week routine using the maximum layers. So Lauren, let me just go back and see what your question was. So if that's the case, Lauren, I would be looking at hunger. So I would ask you to consider joining the advice area where we can look at your baby's individual needs and make sure your baby is not hungry, or that you're not breastfeeding and your baby's having probiotics, or you're having them on breastfeeding, or that you're giving them to your babies, etc. Things like that. Rowena says, hi Tizzie, I've got the feeding book. She loves her food. She doesn't drink much and she's on stage 1. So let me go back and see what Rowena was asking. You were saying that your child's unpredictable. So sometimes 40 minutes, other times 2 hours. Any suggestion? I would try the next routine. If things go wrong and they're unpredictable like that, I would always try the next routine first. So try the next routine, Rowena, and if that doesn't work, please consider joining the online advice area so that we can help you with more personal advice. Okay, thank you very much, everybody.